Hey, this is Philip and we are here to
unleash your talents. This month we're speaking about negotiation, and this can be very tricky for some people, and many people are even afraid of doing it. When in fact, at least if you listen to us, you're going to notice that this is something very enjoyable and it's actually quite easy. There are just a few things which you should consider, and then you'll realize that this is actually something that you'll enjoy very much. Let me start with the first piece of advice. I learned this from a very good friend of mine. She actually has this written on her door. It says ACT, A-C-T, and that stands for ask, concentrate, tell. And what's behind this? It means that if you ask a question and the person responds, you really concentrate on the answer. You don't in the meantime already think, ooh, he just said that, so I should respond this, or I have something really clever to say, but really use this time to keep your mouth closed and to really pay close attention to what's being said. And only when the person finishes speaking, that's when you think about, okay, now I want to ask a second question just to figure out what the person meant. And that will already make a big difference for you to realize what this whole conversation is really about.
The interesting part is actually how much a conversation conveys information and what kind of information. Many people don't realize how much they actually say while they don't actually say it. But that's very interesting and intriguing what you can hear just by active listening. In this case, ACT. So big learning from this point out, make sure that you really take your time to understand and that you want to listen to what the other person is saying. Because if you want to listen, you start asking yourself the right questions. And by right questions, I mean, what is the person meaning? What is standing behind what the person is saying? What is the person actually longing for? And if you realize what the person is longing for, that will be very helpful. But we will be talking about this in a couple of weeks.
You know what we discovered a few weeks ago? If you really listen to details which are just in maybe half a sentence, you understand some background. And this can be a person who just says in the back, in a part of a sentence, yeah, I need to check with my boss and so on. Then you might not be speaking to the person who actually takes the decision. You're speaking to a gatekeeper, to some intermediate person, when you should in fact be speaking directly to the boss who takes the decision, because maybe she sees this completely differently than the person that you're sitting opposite to. And that's the kind of information that you can get from this tiny sentence. Maybe it's just a few words, so be sure to keep both your ears open. And there's this nice formula. You have one mouth, but 2 ears. So be sure to use these 2 ears during negotiations.
Even more so, there are so many things that influence negotiations, and they're actually very interesting because negotiation, in fact, is the most direct way to communicate with each other. Maybe besides sex. But anyway, coming back to what I was saying, make sure that when you listen to somebody that you not just only listen for the small words, but also keep in mind where that person is coming from. Because somebody who comes from a culture of negotiation will be more willing to negotiate. If you talk to somebody who is from a culture where negotiation is not anything that happens every day, then there is a good likelihood that the person from the negotiation-less culture will be waiting for a final offer, while the other person who is used to negotiating will just receive the first offer, the final offer, as the first offer to negotiate about. So keep that in mind, that negotiation also is something that lets cultures thrive with each other.
And you know how when you maybe go to a Turkish bazaar, negotiations can be very quick, just a few seconds, or they can last for as long as it takes until your tea gets cold. Or things can take, if you go outside of the bazaar and you go to a business conversation, they can take hours, days, weeks, months, whatever. So what I would like to give as final recommendation in this video is be sure to take notes. Because while this person is speaking, and our experience shows that typically people like to speak, then be sure to write down, because there might be a detail that you noted here and you completely forgot because you had such an intense long discussion. But then afterwards you check your notes again and you realize, oh yeah, she did mention this. And that's something where you can afterwards go and renegotiate something where you can offer a better deal, which then actually enables to close the deal and to be happy for both sides.
And if you cannot write anything down, make sure you remember it in a way how it fits your brain working powers. So this can be either a mind palace, or this can be a note on the mobile phone or something else. Just make sure that you keep the information for yourself. In any case, this is it for this week. We're going to see each other next week again. And we are Philip and Philip, and we are here to
unleash your talent.
Take care.
See you soon.